Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on March 16th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. So first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 18 was green, the 36 was blue, the 45 was red, the 47 was blue, and the 69 was green. Okay, so I'm going to color these numbers in. So again, the 18 and the 69 were green. The 36 and 47 were blue. And the 45 was red. So now I'm going to count how many colors I have total. So I got 2 green, 2 blue, and a red for 3 colors total. Okay. So now I'm going to go come up to this color code drawings, and I'm going to make this 314. So I kept track of 314 color code drawings so far. And now I'm going to go to a 3-color combination and make this 170. Okay, so if you divide 170 into 314, you're going to see that a 3-color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge. Because if I just keep on picking a 3-color combination all the time, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate all these colors. Okay, so how this works is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers, and I divided them by 5 colors. Okay, and why 5 colors is because I want a color to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the red numbers, and my color code is right here. This is the red, orange, green, and then blue and purple. Okay, so the last 3 drawings are red numbers, and the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to start to fill this in. So again, it was the 18, the 36, 45, 47, and 69. Then the next row was 5, 6, 45, which is already taken, 55, and 59. And then the next row was 6, which is taken, and then the 10, 21, 35, and 46. So I'm going to fill these in as red numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I have 2, and 3 is 5, 3 is 8, and 5 is 13. So I'm going to make this 13 right here. Okay, so this tells me how many colors are on the board here. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to the orange numbers. Okay, so you can see that I have a little bit, another row of orange numbers. And the reason why that is because once I start filling the game card in, I need more rows to get up to that 13.8. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 1, the 19, 25, 27, 68, and then the 21, which is taken, the 31, 42, 49, 59, which is taken. And then the next row is 4, 6, which is taken, 14, 20, 32. And the last row is 27, which is taken, to 49, 50, 51, and 52. Okay, so I'm going to make this orange numbers. And I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 2, and 4 is 6, and 3 is 9, 1 is 10, and 5 is 15. So I'm going to leave that alone at 15. Okay. So now I'm moving on to the green. So I need even more green numbers to get up to that 13.8. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 29, 30, 41, 48, 64, and then it's the 2, 8, 14, which is taken, 24, 69, which is taken. Then the third row is 1, 2, 3, 7, 39. Then the next row is 5, 13, 28, 38, 63. And then the next row is 10, 17, 18, 43, 65. And then the last row is 2, 12, 16, 29, and 50. Let's see here, 2, 12, 16, 29, and 54. So I'll color these in green. And I'll count how many I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 3 is 13. 2 is 15. 2 more is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I have about 7 more numbers than I want, okay? But the thing is about this color code is this is set in stone. I can't change it, okay? So even though I have a lot more green than I want, I just can't eliminate this last row, okay? Again, it's set in stone. So this thing works like a caterpillar. The 18 will work its way down, and this will work out the numbers itself, okay? So I certainly seen it where it was 13, 13, 13, 14, and 14, or something like that, where it was just really, really close, okay? So I think you get the gist of how I came up with this, the colors for my game card. And now what I'm going to do, just to speed up time, I'm going to scroll over to the right here. Okay, so the game card is all set for 3/16/19 now. Okay, and it turned out there was 13 red numbers, 15 orange, 21 green, 11 blue, and 9 purple. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up, okay? So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up. So again, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups will not be coming up, okay? So in the last drawing, you can see that there was no orange numbers or purple numbers, okay? For this drawing, I'm going to say that no green numbers will be coming up. Now, I've been saying this for the last 3-4 drawings now, okay? And I'm going to just stick with it because I know eventually it's going to miss, okay? So even though green has the most numbers on the board, that doesn't really mean anything. There's plenty of other numbers out there for the 5 to hit, okay? So the reason why I'm picking green is because you can see a green number has come up in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drawings. And I just think that it's due to miss, okay? Even though it has the most numbers on the board, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate those green numbers off of the game card here, okay? So this is for this drawing, okay? 3/16/19, and I'm going to eliminate all the green numbers. So just give me a second here. There's 21 of them. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate the orange numbers off of the last game card. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so if I'm correct with my pick and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I want to show you how things work with the last drawing. Okay, again, no orange numbers came up. So I'm going to eliminate the orange numbers here. And as I do, you can see that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers are still in play. The 18, the 36, 45, 47, and 69. Okay? So what I like to do is get you involved with this. Okay? So I would like you to pause the video and draw out the game card, like so. Okay? Now, if you decide to go with me and say that there's no green numbers that are going to come up, this is what your game card should look at home. Okay, so X out the numbers that you don't think are going to be coming up. Okay, so this is how your game card should look at home if you go with no green numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the next strategy. Okay, and that's strategy number 2, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? So how this works is, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So that means there has to be a majority of either even numbers or odd numbers, okay? Or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. I like to keep track of this and try to correctly guess what the upcoming drawing will be for the majority, okay? So first things first, I'm going to make this 359. Kept track of 359 drawings here, okay? And this goes back to October 7th or October 15th, I think it is, 2015. That's when the Powerball Lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of this 359 drawings, so far it's been 189 drawings with the majority of odd numbers and 169 with the majority of even numbers, okay? So as I go back, the numbers were 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. So the majority is odd numbers. So I'm going to go down and write this. There was 3 odd numbers, 2 even. So the majority is odds. And I'm going to make this 190 drawings now. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to break this down into every 5. Okay. 5 drawings. Because I want to see that majority. So out of this 5 drawings, the majority was even numbers, okay? 3 drawings to 2. Before that, it was odds 3 to 2, odds 4 to 1, evens 3 to 2, odds 3 to 2, odds 4 to 1, odds 4 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 to 2, okay? So in the last 20 drawings or so, or the last 30 drawings, the majority has been odd numbers. So for this, I think the majority is going to be even numbers on this, okay? So I'm going to write that down, that I think the majority will be even numbers. Okay, so next, with the 50-50 picks, I'm going to go on to this high and low. So all the numbers in red are considered high numbers. All the ones in blue are considered low. Okay, so the numbers were 18, 36, 45, 47, 69. So there was 4 numbers to the high side and 1 to the low. So the majority was to the high. So I'm going to make this 181. Okay, so as I go down, now you can see this is where this majority comes in. Okay, so it's 2 to 2. And what do you think it's going to be? Okay, so as I go back down through, you can see that it's been high for the last like 30 drawings here. So I'm going to say that this last one's going to be low. Okay, I think there's going to be more numbers to the low side than there is to the high. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as low. Okay, and then the next one. Okay, I look at this and you can see that 3 to 2 comes up most of the time, okay? Sometimes it comes up 4 to 1, even 5 to 0, okay? But for this one, because there was been so much right here, okay? I'm going to say that this jumps to the left, and I think that there's going to be more to the left side than to the right side. Okay, so let me write that down. Okay, and the last one is this blue and red, okay? And you can see that the red has a majority of 200 drawings to 159, okay? So I'm thinking that that the majority is probably going to be to the blue side here. So I'm looking at more numbers to this blue area than the red area, okay? So I'm going to write that down as well. And I'll show you why I do this, okay? So what I'd like you to do at home is I'm going to go back and I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to work my way back up. And what I'd like you to do at home is make a decision on where you think the majority is going to be, okay? Now, you don't have to pick all of these, okay? Just pick one or two. Let me move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to work my way back up here. Okay, so make a decision on what you think is going to be the majority for the high and low, okay? And moving on, left and right. Okay, let me head back up here. Okay, and you tell me what you think the majority is going to be, okay? And last one, this red and blue. Okay, so I'm going to work my way back up. Okay, and you make a decision on what you think the majority will be, okay? So over here, I do have something for the Powerball itself, okay? That's the red number. There's 26 red numbers in the Powerball Lottery. So on this side here with this column, I just divided the numbers into two. So if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. Over on this row, if you see a red number, that means it's an odd number, and blue means it's an even number, okay? So why I do that is now I just look at the colors. So when I see a streak of red here, well, I know it's going to turn blue eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? And I think it's going to happen here, okay? So I'm expecting a low number to come up, okay? And over here, I think that it's going to be an odd number. I think it's going to go back to red, okay? And the reason why is because, you know, if you look at just this column right here, you can see that so much blue, you know, that I think the red is just going to come back around and have the majority for a while, okay? So I'm thinking that it's going to be a low odd number. So that means I think it's going to be either a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, okay, or 13, okay? For me, I'm probably going to go with the 9. That's kind of my favorite number here, okay? And the reason why I'm going to go with the 9 is because it hasn't come up in a long time. I'll show you the last time it came up, which is right here, okay? So it's been a while, and I just think that it's due to come up, and we'll see what happens, okay? So again, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, okay? This green means that the Powerball repeated itself. So you can see the 18 came up, and then it just came right back up again, okay? So again, I'm going to work this up slowly. And you make a decision on what you think is going to come up, okay? So moving on to the next strategy. Strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so what I did here is, let me reduce this down so you can see the whole card. So I took the 69 numbers and I divided it into 7 groups. Okay, so the first group of 1 through 9 is the only one with 9 numbers, and then the other groups have 10 numbers. Okay, so it goes 1 through 9, then the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. So there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so let me blow this back up again. And what I'm going to do is go over to the numbers here. So again, it was the 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. So since the 18 was green, I'm going to color a square green here. Okay. So what that means is that I could highlight this 18 and I could go back into the history and see what colors haven't come up. Okay. So if I don't see a red, like I'm not really seeing here, okay, and 18 just came up, and again, I don't see, well, here's a red number right here, but it hasn't come up in a very long time, so maybe in the next 3 drawings, the 18 will come back up, okay? Of course, who knows, all right? Nobody knows, but it's just a gut feeling of mine that I'm going to see that red again real soon, okay? So again, it was the 18, and then the 36 was blue. I'll color that in. Okay, and then the 45 and 47 I already colored in. Okay, and then the 69 as well was green. All right. So what that did is 18 is in its own group, 36 is in its own, the 40 and 45 and 47 are in its own group as well, and then it's the 69. So that comes up to 4 groups total. Okay, so a 4 comes up the most. Okay, as I go down through the history of things, and a 3 is a close second. Okay, a 5 comes up every now and again, and then a 2 comes up every once in a blue moon here. Okay. I'd never seen a 1. I'd never seen all 5 winning Powerball numbers in one group. Okay, so for this drawing coming up, I think it's going to be a 3. Okay, so I'm expecting when I look at this, I want it to represent just 3 of these groups here. Okay, so that's the thing about the individual numbers. So last drawing, if you could have said that no 20 numbers were going to come up, you could have eliminated those numbers, okay? And that's what I'm going to do right now. With the last drawing, I'm going to say that no 20 numbers came up, so I'm going to get rid of them. And you can see how this game works, okay? So again, if you made the correct decision, the correct guess, you can see that the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still in play. The 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a guess for this drawing, and I'm going to say that no numbers of 1 through 9 are going to come up, okay? Now, how I do this is I broke this down into every 5 drawings, okay? And the reason why I did that is my theory is if there's been a bunch of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in this 5 drawings, okay? Or vice versa. Okay, so as I head down through here, you can see that the 1 through 9 has been just really, really hot, okay? And now I think it's going to start to cool off, okay? So I don't think any numbers of 1 through 9 are going to come up this drawing, okay? So I'm going to get rid of those. For this drawing of 3, 16, 19, I'm going to get rid of the 1 through 9 numbers. And I'll block those out. Okay, so off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. So basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups, and then I put colors to these groups. So when the Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so for the last drawing, it was the 18, so there's 1 in the red area. And then in the blue, it just jumped to 36, 45, 47, 69. So there was no winning numbers in the blue area. There was 1 number in the orange, and there was 3 numbers in the green. Okay, so I'm going to darken these up here. Okay, red means that it's hot, it hit. Okay, and then this blue I'm going to have a lighter colored background. Okay, so that gives me some separation here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 91. Okay, and what that means is that there's 91 blue marks within this column here. Okay, so as I look at things, I see 91, 82, 99, 89. You know, it's still right around the same mark. Okay, now the thing is that I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, and a lot of them don't look exactly like this. Okay, this is kind of pretty even in my book. The red is way behind, you know. So maybe it's going to catch up at some point. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Now, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these blue numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all those blue numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so for the last drawing here, I'm going to go to option card number 3. Actually, I got ahead of myself. I want to update this option card number 2. Okay, so with this, the 18 was here in the red, and then the 36 was in the blue, and then the 45 and 69 were in the orange, and the 47 was in the green. Okay, so when that happens, I call this a row. Okay, and that just means that all the colors had a hit to it. Okay, so when I see something like when I see something with a big gap to it, like here, you can see there was a row, and then the next row wasn't until way up here. Okay, when I don't see a row in a long time, well, I think that it's going to hit eventually. Okay, so if I think this row is going to double, then I want my 5 winning Powerball numbers to represent each one of these 4 color groups here on this option card. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go with last drawing. Okay, you can see that no red numbers came up, so I'm going to get rid of these red numbers here for the last drawing. Okay, so again, I'm over here at the last drawing, and I'm going to get rid of these numbers right here. Okay, so the reason why I'm getting rid of the 8 as well is because the 8 shares the square with the 66 here on this group 1. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is I'm keeping track of this group of numbers, okay? And that includes the 1 through the 16 plus the 66 as well. Okay, so there's 17 numbers here total that I'm keeping track of. All right. So next one for the last drawing, I'm going to go with number 7 red. You can see a 0 came up. Okay, it was 3 zeros in a row. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all these red numbers now. Excuse me. Okay, so let me go to the game card for last drawing, and I'm going to get rid of this 65. Then I'm going to get rid of the 4 in the middle, which are already gone. Okay. And then it's the 41 and 38 over here, so get rid of the 44, the 38, 39, 62, and 63. So hopefully, well, you can see with last drawing, you can see that the winning Powerball numbers are still alive here. Okay, so it's 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. Okay, so now I'm going to pick what I think is going to happen for this drawing. Okay, and the first one that I'm going to go with is this number 8 right here. No blue numbers. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing this is because a blue number has come up in the last 19 drawings. Okay. Now you can see that there's only 70 blue marks compared to 87, 78. So they're still pretty close around. But since there's been 3 rows in a row, I have a feeling that one of these color groups is gonna miss. And the one that stands out to me the most is, of course, the blue one with the 19 hits in a row here. Okay. So I'm gonna hope that none of these blue numbers come up. So I'm going to get them off the game card here. Okay, so it's the 65, 66, 36, and all the way down. And so over here was the 2, 11, 20, 65, and then it was the 66, 22, and 31, the 36, 50, and 59, and then the 37, 46, and 55. Okay, so hopefully none of those numbers will come up. All right, and for my second pick, I'm going to go with number 14, no orange numbers. Okay, and the reason why I'm taking this is because this one has hit 21 drawings in a row. Okay, so I just have a feeling that it's going to miss. So I'm going to get rid of the 2, 4, 65, 27, that pattern in all 4 of these squares here. Okay, so you can see that the 27 is still here. So the 2, 4, okay, 2, 4, 4, and the 65. Okay, so hopefully none of those numbers will come up. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to option card number 1. I want to show you one more thing here. I want you to keep track of the zeros in the red area, okay? So you can see that with all 15 option cards, they're all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each individual option card here. Okay, so here's a 0 right here, so there's 1. Okay, here's another 0 in the red, so there's 2. And then 3. And 4. 5. 6. Okay, so out of all 15 option cards with the red areas, 6 of them had zeros to it. Okay, so if there's 5 or more zeros, I color the background blue for cold. If there's less than 5, 4 or less, I color the background red for hot. So I have some separation here. Okay, so when I think that a blue mark is going to come up, okay, then that means that I'm thinking that at least a third of these option cards are going to have a 0 to it. Okay, so 5 or more, I think are going to have a 0 to it. Okay, so for the last drawing, there was 6, and then 3 in the blue for 9, 1 in the green for 10, and then 3 in the orange for a total of 13 zeros. Okay, so there's usually always plenty of zeros to pick from. Okay, you just have to correctly pick where they're going to come up. All right, so let me head down. And what I like to do is do the same thing with the 50-50 picks. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and then I'm going to work my way back up. And you need to make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay? So let me do that again. And again, I'm going to work my way back up. Okay, so make a decision. Pause the video if you need to. Okay. And I'm going to move on to number 2 here. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And then I'm going to work my way back up. And you make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Or if you think it's going to be another row. Okay. So moving on over to 3, I'm going to scroll down. Now here you can see there's been a bunch of single rows, okay? Okay, so make a decision and X out those numbers that you don't think are going to come up. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, so moving on to 4. As I work my way back up. Make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so, you know, if you get my game for yourself, you don't have to wait for me. You can just go right through this. Okay, so my videos usually take about an hour, but it doesn't usually take me that long to play this game. Okay, it just takes a long time to explain it. All right, so here I'm going to scroll on down and work my way back up. And you let me know where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so you can see that number 3, that's no 3. And what that means is that you can see that there's 3 zeros over here in the red area. There's never been 3 zeros in this orange area. Okay, so the 3-0 thing, that happens a lot. It just hasn't happened yet for this orange, so I'm keeping an eye on that. So when the next 0 comes up, well, I'm probably going to think that the following drawing is going to have a 0 as well. Okay, so moving on to number 6. You scroll down, you can see a huge gap without a row. Okay, I'm working my way up. Make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, a lot of time a 0 will follow another 0. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. As I move on to number 7, you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows in a row here. Okay, so that happens. You know, I look for certain things like certainly a 0 repeating itself, or when I see a thing like this where a 1 will follow a 1. Okay, that's a pretty what's the word I'm looking for? That's a stat that comes up a lot. Okay. So moving on to number 8. Here's the one where I'm going to go with no blue numbers. Hopefully the 0 will be right here. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so let me scroll this down. Work my way back up. So there's really no rhyme or reason why a 0 would pop up. Okay, you just got to make that guess. Hopefully you'll be right, you know. So moving down here, I'm going to scroll down. Work my way back up. You can see in this green area how many single zeros there are. Okay. Well, I know eventually it's going to double up at some point, you know. Okay, so make a decision. Pause the video if you need to. And moving on to number 10 here. Okay, scrolling back up. Okay, so here's another one where it hasn't seen that 3 zeros in a row yet. Okay. Okay, so make a decision on where you think the 0 is going to be. All right. So longest streak, this is 27, okay? So as I head down here, we'll see if I can find that. And here it is right here, okay? So that's the longest streak for this option card. So when I see it getting close to 27 again, you know, I'm going to think that there's going to be a 0 following it. Okay, moving on to 11. I scroll down. Certainly a 1 comes up a lot, okay? Here's that pattern where a 1 will follow a 1 again, okay? Here's one where it came up 21 in a row. Okay, so make a decision and X out those numbers. Okay, so for the next one here, you can see this 12. This orange has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 single zeros in a row. Okay, so when's it going to double up? You know, who knows? I thought about picking this one, but I decided not to. Okay, so the more you pick, definitely the greater chances are that you're going to knock out some winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I like to keep this pick down to 1 or 2 of these option cards. Okay, so here we go with 13. The longest one was 17. Oops, here's one right here for 19, so let me change that. Okay, so now it's up to 19. Let me scroll down. Work my way back up here. Okay, so here's one over here with the red. Maybe it will triple up on the 0. Okay, who knows? All right. So make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. And moving on. The 14 here. This is the one where I'm going to go with no orange numbers because it's been 21 in a row. Okay, the longest streak before that's been 18, so I think it's due to miss any drawing here. Okay, so let me scroll down. And I'm going to work my way back up. Okay, and make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Maybe it will be right here following this 0 in the blue area. Who knows? Okay, so moving on. Last one. Okay, I'm going to work my way back up. Okay, so maybe it will be another 0 here with this orange. Who knows? Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 will be and X out those numbers. Okay, pause the video if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers. Okay, but with this one, since there's 8 groups of numbers and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this here, I'm going to show you how this works. So the numbers that came up were the 18 blue, 36 green, 45 and 69 purple, and 47 gray. So I like to read that from left to right because this is how the stats are: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all kind of look the same as far as the same colors: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow for all 15 of them. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. Okay? So again, it was blue, green, 2 purple, and a gray. So down here, there was no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There's 1 in the blue, none in the orange, 1 in the green, 2 in the purple, none in the brown, 1 in the gray, and none in the yellow. Okay? So now I'm going to count how many color groups are hit. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to write that 4 here. Now, since the majority of the numbers were over here to the right side, I'm going to color this 4 green. Okay? And if the majority was over here to the left side, I would have colored that 4 red. Okay? So this gives me some kind of idea of, as I go down through this, to say, well, it's been green for a little while, so maybe it's going to be red here. So if the majority of the numbers are over here to the left side, then that means there's going to be at least 2 zeros over here on the right side. Okay, so the last drawing, if you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up, you could have gotten rid of these red numbers, okay? And gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize, okay? So here's the same thing where the 25 shares the square with the 65, okay? So in other words, I'm keeping track of the group of numbers that include the 1, 9, 17, 25, 33, 41, 49, 57, and the 65, okay? So as I go back, again, to the last drawing, if you could correctly guess that no red number was going to come up, we could have gotten rid of them. And you can see that the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still on the board here. Okay? So for me, I'm going to make a pick, and I'm going to say that no purple numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's purple right here. And as I head down through, you can see that it got really, really hot through here. And what this means is, let me explain that as well. You can see over here that I colored the background blue, and here the colored the background red. Okay, so the reason why I did that is because I'm always looking for the majority, so I only keep track of every 5 drawings. Okay, so there was 3 zeros here, so when that happens, I colored the background blue for cold. And then you can see there was 3 hits, so when that happens, I colored the background red for hot. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because I know that the lottery is so random here, okay, that I know that nothing can stay cold forever, and I know that nothing can stay hot forever, okay, because that wouldn't be random, okay. So if I see something that's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay. So I think it's going to happen right here. I think a 0 is going to be right here, okay. So we'll see what happens. So I don't think any purple numbers are going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these purple numbers off of this drawing. Okay, 3, 16, 19, no purple. So that includes the 21, 45, 69, and the 53. Okay, so I'll get rid of those numbers here. Hopefully they won't come up. And hopefully the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still left here on the game card. Okay, so moving on. Oops, I'm sorry. What I want to do is give you a chance to pick here. Somehow these things got a little bit bunched up. Let me spread them out just a little bit here. Okay, so I want you to take a look at these. Okay, so I'm going to work my way from the top. And as I come down, I want you to make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay. So again, I know that there's going to be at least 3 zeros on here. Okay. And you can see all these 4s. So most of the time, it's either 4 of these color groups being hit and 4 of them missing. Okay. So it's really like a 50-50 guess here, according to the stats. Okay. So make a guess, just one. All right. I like to just pick where I think 1 0 will be, and then I'll move on to the next option card. That's why I have 15 of them. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, and then eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Last drawing. I don't know why this thing got so bunched up here, but okay, so last drawing, if you could have picked that no green numbers were going to come up, you could have gotten rid of these green numbers and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so you can see the last drawing, there's no green numbers to eliminate. Okay, so I'm going to make a guess for this drawing. Okay, and this is kind of where the 50-50 picks come in. Okay, so here I said I thought there was going to be more low numbers than high numbers. Okay, so when I'm looking at this group 2, how it's all broken up here, since I think the majority of the numbers are going to be up here, then I want to concentrate on eliminating numbers down on this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with this yellow. Okay, so you can see how hot this yellow was over here, and now I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see if it is or not. So I'm going to eliminate these yellow numbers off of this drawing's game card. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 58 and 68, the 60 and 62. I'll get rid of those, and hopefully those numbers will not come up. Okay, so moving on, what I'm going to do is give you a chance to pick where that 0 is going to be. Okay, so take a guess. And then eliminate those numbers off of the game card. Okay, so moving on to number 3. As I head down for the last drawing, if you could have said that no brown numbers were going to come up, you could have gotten rid of those. Okay, and that's the 5 and the 34 here. So the last drawing, get rid of the 34, 58, and 68. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to say that no brown numbers are going to come up again. Okay, and the reason why is you can see how hot this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them now. Okay, so when's it going to turn blue? Who knows? But I think pretty soon. Okay, and I'm going to say that a 0 is going to be right here as well. Okay, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers off of this option card, game card, I mean. Okay, so 5, and the only one left is the 42. Okay, so now it's your turn. Let me scroll down here slowly. So you can see between the red and the purple and the brown, who knows where that 0 is going to pop up, or one of the 3 zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. And here's another thing, you can see how red this is over here. So maybe this is going to stay to the green. So maybe this is going to have a couple zeros to it. Okay, so why this is highlighted yellow is that because it's right on the edge here. You got 2 misses, 2 hits. Okay, so I want to stand those out. So it's a 50-50 guess. Do you think it's going to be a hit here, or do you think it's going to be a 0 here? Okay, So I like 50-50 guesses, whether it's going to be heads or tails or who's going to win or lose. Okay. Uh, I like it simple like that. Okay. So make a decision on where you think that zero is going to be. Pause the video if you need to, and then X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay. So moving on to number 4. Last drawing. If you could have picked that no yellow numbers were going to come up, you could have gotten rid of those yellow numbers, okay? The 65 and the 61 here in the last drawing, and the only one left is just 61. Okay, so for this drawing, I am going to say that no gray numbers are going to come up, okay? So you can see how hot this gray was, all right? And now I think the zero is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens, and I'm going to eliminate those gray numbers off of the game card. That includes the 17 and 69 here. So I'm going to get rid of the 18, 19, 67, and the 56. Again, hopefully those numbers will not come up. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me give you a chance to make a pick here. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. And you tell me where you think the zero is going to be. Okay. So pause the video if you need to. And make a decision on where to X out those numbers. Okay. So moving on to number 5. And that is, if you could have picked that no orange numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, you could have gotten rid of those numbers, okay? And that is this circle right here of orange. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 35 and the 59. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to pick that no green numbers are going to come up. So as I head down through, you can see that how hot this green has been. And I think the zero is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of this drawing. Okay, so you can see that there's nothing to eliminate here. So even though there's nothing to eliminate, I'm not going to pick another one, okay? Because my odds of picking another one correctly just go way, way up, okay? So that's why I have 15 of these option cards, okay? And I only pick one from each of them, okay? So this is for you at home. Pick where you think that zero is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And then eliminate that group of numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 6. Last drawing. If you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up. You can see the 0 there, okay? So if you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up, you could have eliminated these numbers and gave yourself a much better chance of winning some kind of prize, okay? So that eliminates the 1967, okay? So in the 60. So I'll get rid of those numbers, all right? And for this drawing, for me, I'm going to say that no blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So as you look at this, you can see that it got pretty hot through here, and now I think the zero is going to be right here, okay? So we'll see what happens, and I'm going to eliminate these blue numbers off of this drawing. And that's the 4, 11, 20, 27, and that takes away the 52. Okay, so you see that I'm getting down here, okay? And over here with the winning numbers as well, they're still on the board, the 18, 36, 45, 47, and 69. Hopefully that's the same thing over here with this drawing. Hopefully I haven't eliminated those numbers that are going to come up. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Actually, I haven't given you a chance to pick yet. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so over here, this 3, you could that's for just the red areas. Okay, so when I haven't seen something in a while, like a 4, then maybe I'm thinking that this is going to be a 4, and that means only 4 red areas will be here. Okay, so that means 2 of these, 2 out of the 3 yellows will probably have a 0 to it. Okay, who knows? All right, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to pop up, and then eliminate those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 7. Last drawing, if you could have picked that no purple numbers were going to come up. You could have gotten rid of those purple numbers, and that's the 57, 50, 59 for the last drawing. Okay, so get rid of the 54 and the 56. Okay, and for this drawing, I am going to say that no green numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you can see that the green started off really, really hot and kind of stayed hot. Okay, so now I think there's going to be a row of blue here. Okay, so I think the 0 is going to be right here, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate what's left with these green numbers: 49, 68, 51, 60 all the way across. Okay, so we'll get rid of the 49 and 51. Hopefully those numbers won't come up. Okay, and now for you, you make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay. Okay, so pause the video if you need to. Okay, take your time. There's only $500 million on the line. Okay, so pick where you think that 0 is going to be, and then X out those numbers off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 8. We're halfway there. Last drawing. If you could have picked that no orange numbers are going to come up. You can see that a 0 right there in the orange. You could have gotten rid of these orange. The 7, 14, 23 all the way up and down here. Could have got rid of the 46 and the 55. Okay, and for me, this drawing on number 8, I had a really hard time deciding where one of those 3 zeros are going to pop up. So I'm going to say no pick on this. Okay, you don't have to pick out every single one of these. Okay, so I'm going to say no pick and just work my way to the next option card. But for you, let me scroll down here again. Take it nice and slow. Maybe for you, you'll see something. Okay, you can see that there's been a long line of red over here, so maybe the majority of the numbers that will come up will be to the green area, the right side. Okay, so that means maybe over here will be where that 0 is going to be. Okay, at least one out of the 3. Okay, so decide where that 0 is going to be, and then X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 9. Last drawing, if you could have picked that no yellow numbers were going to come up. Okay, you could have gotten rid of all those yellow numbers, and that's the 12 and 17 on the left side and 66, 29 on the right side. Okay, so it's only the 40 I could get rid of, but it's one more to get rid of. All right, so over here to the current drawing, I am going to pick that no blue numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you can see it's been really hot here in the blue, and I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens, and I'm going to get rid of those blue numbers. And that's the 2, 27, 16, 21. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm over here. 2, 27, 16, 21, you can see that there's no numbers to eliminate. So again, I'm not going to go back and pick another one, okay? Because I know that the odds are just going to fly right up that I'm going to get it wrong. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Actually, I want to let you pick. Okay, so try to guess where that 0 is going to be. Usually it's pretty hard to get all 5 colors. As you head up, you can see that, you know, it hardly ever happens. In fact, I don't think it didn't even happen over here, okay? Where there's like all 5 red or all 5 green. So maybe this will be the one where it's all 5 red, you know? And you might want to look at this as being where the 0 is going to be, okay? So make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And eliminate that group of numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Number 10, we're almost there. We're in the home stretch. Last drawing, if you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up, you could have eliminated those red numbers. Gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. And that's the 1, 12, all the way around in all 4 of those squares. So 1, 12, 1, 12. The only one we get rid of is the 37. But it's one more to get rid of, okay? And over here, I am going to go with no gray. So keep an eye on the gray here. You can see how hot things have been, okay? And now I think it's going to cool off. I think the 0 is going to be right here, okay? So we'll see what happens, and I'm going to get rid of those gray numbers, which is the 17, 28, all the way around here. So the only one I could get rid of is the 32, but it's one more off the board. Okay, so hopefully I'm correct with that pick. And now up to you. I want you to pick where that 0 is going to be. Okay, take your time. Pause the video if you need to. And then X out those numbers that are left on your game card. Okay, so moving on to 11. Last drawing, if you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up. Okay, you could have gotten rid of those red numbers. And that includes the 6, 17, 35, and 56. So here's 6, 17, 35, and 56. So the only one left is the 43. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers on here. Okay, I can't get rid of the 53 because it shares the square with the 69. Okay, so if you get down to this, it's up to you to make a decision on what numbers you think are going to come up. Or you could just spend more money and get more tickets to make sure you play all the combinations that you could play with this. Okay, so moving on to my pick. I am going to go with no orange numbers. Okay, so you can see this has been really, really hot through here, okay, with the orange. And now I think it's going to cool off. I think there's going to be another 0 here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of whatever's left for the orange, and that's the 66, 67, 33, and 54. I'll get rid of that 33. Okay, so moving on for you. You make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, pause the video if you need to. And then X out whatever's left on your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 12. Again, we're in the home stretch here. Okay. If you could have picked that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been right. Okay. So for me, number 12, I'm going to say that no purple numbers are going to come up. So you can see how hot this purple was. And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay. So we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of these purple numbers, the 6 and the 34. And there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay. So moving on. Now I'm going to let you make a decision here. So I'm going to scroll down. You tell me where you think that 0 is going to be. And eliminate those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to 13. If you could have picked that, no numbers were going to come in that orange area, you would have been correct. Okay, so for me, I'm going to pick that no gray numbers are going to come up. I think the 0 is going to be right here. So we'll see what happens. And I'm going to eliminate these gray numbers, the 5 and the 33. So I'm going to get rid of the 14 and 15. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to give you a chance to pick. And you make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, take your time, pause the video if you need to. And X out those numbers that are still left on your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 14. If you could have picked that no purple numbers are going to come up, you would have been correct. And for me, I'm going to say I don't think any orange numbers are going to come up. I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to eliminate these orange numbers. Which there's nothing to eliminate here. Okay, so, but for you, you make a decision on where you think those 0s are going to be. Again, pause the video if you need to. And eliminate that group of numbers off of your game card. Okay, so the last one, I'm going to say that no orange numbers are going to come up. And if you picked no orange for the last drawing, you would have been correct. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these orange numbers. And that's the 1 diagonal line right to the 64, which will get rid of the 10. And that's it. Okay, so somehow I left this off the card here, okay? And things were kind of messed up with my 50-50 picks, so I'm going to just erase those, okay? So what I'm going to do here is the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 23, the 26, the 35, the 44, and the 47. Okay, so we'll see if those numbers come up. Okay, you can see that there's more odd numbers than even, so we'll see what happens there. I guess I didn't do my homework correctly on that. But these are the numbers that I'm going to go with. Again, it's the 23, 26, 35, 44, and 47. Okay, the one good thing about it here with the individual numbers, I think it's going to be a 3, like that. So with these numbers, that will make that happen. There's 2 in the 20s, 2 in the 40s, and 1 in the 30s. Okay, and here it's a 3-color combination, which comes up more than half the time, so I like that. And that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so one last thing here with the odds. Okay, so getting the grand prize, okay, all 5 numbers with the Powerball. That's the odds are 1 in 292 million that will happen. Okay. My goal is to get all 5 white numbers correct. That's 1 in 11,688,000. Okay. Here's a nice prize: 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays 50,000. The odds of that are just about 1 in a million. Okay. $100 prize is either 4 white balls or 3 in the red. Okay, that's 1 in 14,000. And they get a $7 prize. It's 2 white balls and a red, or 3 red, 3 white. Okay, that's 1 in 700. 1 in 700 that you'll win. Okay, so to budget things, to play responsibly, I just want you to know that if you spend $3 per drawing, that's 2 drawings a week. Okay, that equals $312 that you'll be paying a year. Okay, so in closing, I'd like to thank you for watching. Okay, if you'd like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.